welcome to April 22nd, 2020. My goal here is to be under 10 minutes and for you to have this assignment done in 15, giving you a total of 25 minutes of work today to get turned in for full credit. All right, we're going to do a real quick review, and then we're going to talk about the Western Front. If you don't already have your Civil War Notes number 3 open, go ahead and get that open for me. It looks like this. Keep that open as you watch. All right, we need to review real quick what's happening in the Civil War since it's been over a week. First off, what's going on is that the South is totally dominating. They are dominating. They start here in Richmond, and they've already pushed their way all the way up into Maryland. So remember, the name of the game is capture the city, capture the flag. If you lose your capital, you lose the war. And right now, the South is dominating. We also need to look at the Anaconda Plan. And the Anaconda Plan is the Northern strategy for winning the Civil War. 3 parts. Blockade, which they've already done. We're going to talk today about part number 2, which is control of the Mississippi River. We'll talk about that here in a second. And then the third part is Richmond. Keep Richmond. Now, I have some pretty cool things on here, so we're going to go ahead and do this the hard way. The Civil War were like a sports event like the NBA Finals. It would be a best of 3. So early on in the war, like we just said, the South is straight dominating. They're winning. But game 2, the Western Front, is won by the Union. All right, here's your main idea. Basically, I've already said it. Grant, we're going to talk about Grant today. Grant is the one Union general who's worth a darn. And he pretty much wins this war a lot. He does a lot to help the South. All right, so why does the Union need control of the Mississippi River right here? What's the lifeblood of any war? If you said supplies, you're a winner. So the Union has cut off supply lines here, and now they have to cut off supply lines along the Mississippi River. Now, a lot of people think that splitting the South in 2 means that you're splitting the South like this. That is not the case. They're actually splitting the South up and down, or north and south. So Grant, at the Battle of Shiloh, he takes over northern Tennessee, which is right here, and that allows him to control the northernmost point in the South for supplies. So there's number 2. It's actually written right here for you. The next part, number 3, is New Orleans. And we've already had like 17 battles of New Orleans. Union leaders can take this incredibly important port from the South. Now, what a lot of history books don't tell you is the South actually does one smart thing, and they keep their supplies on boats here in the Bahamas. So a lot of their supplies are not actually kept inside the United States and the Confederate States of America. They're kept over here, down here in the Bahamas, and they're running those supplies on boats through the Port of New Orleans. When the Union takes over the Port of New Orleans, it pretty much cuts off those supply lines. All right, the third one is the Battle of Vicksburg. So here is it's weirdly written, and I'm sorry about that. The Battle of Vicksburg. I actually didn't know this, but the Battle of Vicksburg ended it's 1 day off from the Battle of Gettysburg. So the 2 most important battles in the Civil War happened on the same exact day, which is mind-boggling. Also, you need to know that there are a lot of battles in the Civil War. It is the most battle-heavy unit that we do. In any war, the Civil War, there's so many battles. Vicksburg is important. It's the second most important battle. And we're going to get into a little dorky stuff here in a second. So for some of you guys who get really into nerd stuff are going to like this. All right, so as you can see by my stars right here, the Battle of Vicksburg, it cuts off the supply lines to the south. So the North has control of the northern point, the middle, and the south. And this is actually a modern day map, and Vicksburg is still really heavy when it comes to like trucking and traffic and that sort of thing. All right, So Vicksburg is built. It's really weird. It's it's actually high cliffs, and the Mississippi River is up against those cliffs. So what ends up happening is after the Battle of New Orleans, the Farragut is his name. He comes in and he blockades the Mississippi River to keep supplies out. When he blockades, it keeps all the supplies from coming in here and here. Then these are all cliffs, really, really high cliffs that you don't really see that much in the United States of America, especially east of the Mississippi River. Grant digs trenches, and he digs trenches around the city of Vicksburg. And he tries a couple times to invade Vicksburg. It doesn't work. And he actually, at this point, becomes really, really smart. And he starts doing battle tactics that we start seeing in World War One, of all places. And he uses these battle tactics later on in the war, and the South can never figure them out. So, and it's actually incredibly simple. What happens is that they starve. The South starves. They're hunkered down without any way of food getting in or bullets or anything for 6 weeks, from early April, mid-April until July 4th. They are quarantined, and they can't get supplies in and they can't get supplies out. So they're eventually going to run out of bullets and food, everything. And this is how Grant wins the Battle of Vicksburg. It's also how he ends up winning the last major battle of the Civil War as well. Forgot to put the Emancipation Proclamation on those notes, so I'm going to go ahead and add those as well. So the Emancipation Proclamation notes are right here. The Emancipation Proclamation is the most misunderstood topic in American history. It's really weird. It's weird in the fact that everybody gives the Emancipation Proclamation and Lincoln credit for freeing the slaves, and it doesn't actually free any slaves. It only frees slaves in the Confederate States of America. The Union states that have slavery still get to keep their slaves, which is just weird, I know. But in the Confederate States of America, the slavery still exists in every part of the country that it did before the Emancipation Proclamation. The 13th Amendment actually frees the slaves. A president just can't write a law. We do that for a multitude of reasons, which you should have talked about in civics last year. What the Emancipation Proclamation actually does is it keeps Britain and France from joining the war effort for the South. Britain and France had gotten rid of slavery in the past. They didn't want to deal with slavery. They thought it was a horrible institution, which we think of today, and they got rid of it. And so by freeing the slaves, by making this war about slavery, Lincoln keeps the South from getting help from Britain and France. It's an incredibly shrewd political move. It doesn't actually free any slaves. So the Emancipation Proclamation is incredibly weird and difficult to understand. It's more about winning the war than it is about freeing slaves. All right, that's it for today. I have no idea what my time was. Y'all have a great day. Get your work turned in, please, because it's killing me. Not literally, but you need to get your work turned in.